Well, hello, and this is another one of the continuing series of me talking about the IST 256 project. And I've had I'm number one pulled your first assignment or at least your first group submittal for the project. And I wanted to kind of make some comments about some of the things that I saw with the projects, because I've been actually talking to a lot of groups in the group sessions that we have that I suggest that you meet with me to be able to go in and talk about that and let me look at your group and I can give you some details. So this is a combination of what I kind of expect from you, but second of all is kind of the questions that I've heard within the various groups. Okay, so what I did is I put a little presentation together that I use for my in-person classes, and keep in mind is that what we're looking at right now is really a request for proposal. Okay, and hopefully you've at least understand this term. And a request for proposal is that someone has a requirement, a need, a problem that can be addressed by some type of computer technology or some type of technology, and the technology also may be thrown into the entire process. And so what I did is, as part of this course, is for the group project, is I've given you a problem definition, a problem statement. Okay, and basically what I said is that you choose some type of, for a better word, e-commerce type of situation, and basically what you do is you're building a storefront. Okay, you're basically dealing with an online store, and in terms of what you're going to do, you have to walk the process, and part of one of the processes I tell all my students to do is to go in and look at something that kind of matches it. You get a mental model of what things should be. And I think we all have a mental model of what a shopper should be, because what you do is you enter the store. The store has a sign saying this is what we offer in terms of products. Okay, you go inside and you start to browse that particular store, and you look at the items that are there, and you grab a shopping cart and you throw the items that you want inside that shopping cart, and then you check out. Now, again, one of the things that, particularly on an online store, okay, you have a couple options as going in, and or actually three options. And you see this in a lot of stores. Okay, first of all, do you have an existing login with us? Or number two, do you want to create an account with us? Or three, do you want to just come in as a guest? All right. So that's kind of the three things that you look at when you're dealing with some type of shopper management. So the thing is that this is shopper details. And it's good for the business, but it's also good for you because you don't have to keep repeating that type of information. I know a lot of times for certain accounts that I have that I do a lot of shopping on, I set up an account because I want to keep entering that type of information. And then you can take that information, store it in some type of data repository, and then pull that information when you come in, because once you sign in, boom, all that information is there and you don't have to re-enter it. Okay, or if you're just on there just casually, then you go out as a guest. Okay, so again, if it's going to be a customer account that you're setting up, they've got two options, just like anything. You got an old customer, you got a new customer. So, you got to look at the flow of that type of situation. Okay. So that's part of the shopper management. Okay. Number two is product management. Okay. General things about, what the product looks like. Okay. And these are all stored in either, what I ask you to do is a non-SQL database, something like MongoDB, because it matches very nice to JSON and, JSON objects. So we can basically have that ability to, play with that. But if you want to go something like a MySQL, that's fine. Okay. Because you can either go to an SQL or non-SQL type of database. But as as assigned, my requirement, okay, is a MongoDB, which, again, maps to JSON, and, it looks, it's a RESTful service, okay? It's that thing that you have a generic abstract type of situation where you can pull that information and then you can add to that, based off of the object orientation paradigm. So that's what your product details are, and same thing with shopper management. Okay. And so then what happens is that you check out. All right. And in terms of that, you have your shipping selection and how that does. Okay. So what I'm really looking for right now is, and we talk about model view controller, I'm looking at the view. All right. I think that at this time right now, you should have a good sense of what your view looks like and the data that's going to be supported by the view, because your next step is to go to the back end and start to build a database where you can store it, you can do a crew, okay, a create, a read, an update, and a delete type of situation to any type of data that you're talking about. All right. So now what you're doing is you're going on to that as you build your view, you're also starting to build your model, but there has to be some type of control mechanism for that model. All right. But at the very least, you should be at all of these specific things, looking at what you need to put in, and okay, and what you're doing is that for each one of those specific requirements that I have, okay, I'm asking you to use this type of technology. All right. And what you're going to do is that you're going to use HTML, CSS, Bootstrap just to make it prettier and look more of a professional type of look that has kind of a consistency, it looks like, for any type of web pages. You're using JavaScript for behaviors and, field and, for integrity checks and things like that. But then you're documenting your information through, a JSON type of file. So, that's at a minimum, that's what I really want to look at. Okay. And a lot of you have done that. And you've shown me your HTML, maybe a shot of the HTML page. I mean, the storefront page, all the specific pages that you have for all the things, and you're showing me the code, and that's good. And you should have that. Okay. But see, again, this is an RFP. Okay, this is a request for proposal. Okay, a customer is sending it out and they want a response back. Okay, well, if you just send them that information, they don't really know much about that. Okay, so you gotta put on your architect hat and your developer hat and start to say, okay, well, this is the way that things flow. Okay, you got to get a better description. A lot of you are just sending me the pages and the code, and I sit there and go, well, I know what that is, but someone wants a little bit more structure, a little bit more non-technical type of information. Okay, And the one thing that you can do, and I'm gonna let me blow this up in terms of the slideshow, is that I saw this on one of the submissions from your classmates, from one of the groups and submissions. And see, this gives me a good flow. Okay. This knows that, what the shopper page looks like. Okay. What the shopper portal would be in terms of just pulling that information from the product type of information. And, you have that ability to show kind of the flow that happens. So charts like this, descriptions, if you're an RFP, write an executive summary, okay? Tell me specifically, put some information around what you're offering here, okay? Because, the code, the screenshots are good, okay? But there should be some accompanying description, and I'm really not seeing that, okay? And the second piece that's real important, okay, is that don't just hand in for every assignment, okay, hand me just what you want to do with part one, what you want to do with part two. This should be a growing document, because what's going to happen is that for my in-person class, the last week of class, they're going to give a presentation to a customer of what this response is going to be, okay? And they have to come in for an RFP. I'm not going to have you do a presentation, although I kind of think that next time I teach this class, I'm going to actually have you videotape a presentation to explain the product, what's going on, because I'm finding people are just throwing code at me. This is not a programming class, this is a development class. And a development class basically goes beyond just writing code. Okay, it's looking at requirements and showing how you respond to those requirements. And the requirements can be functional and non-functional. Okay, the functional is what it must have, but the non-functional things are like usability, easy flow, reliability, okay, performance. Okay, I mean, look at the idea of using Ajax, asynchronous, JSON type information where you don't have to reload the web page to be able to do that. Okay, so it's good that basically what you end up doing is you give me a living document, a document that flows across that type of information, and that it's readable. It's just not code. All right. And particularly, that's what I really want to see. And again, that's just a brief description. Hopefully you kind of get it, because I think in the other videos, I sort of said this, okay? And I think that basically treat it as a professional document instead of a technical document, okay? So that's it for today. I try to keep these videos as short as possible. But again, if you have any questions, if you want me to review that, I'm available for these group meetings. Some teams have been taking advantage of that, and I'm trying to throw them in the right direction. So, set up a meeting with me. Okay. So that's it for today, and good luck with your projects. And if you have any questions, email me or set up a meeting with me. Take care.